Hiya, so at the moment it is 10 to 8 and it's the day before I go in for my C-section. I'm preparing by writing out the last minute birth wishes or birth plan, and it's kind of feeling a little bit more real as time goes on. Can't really believe tomorrow in 12 hours I'll actually be in the hospital waiting to have Harry. I just can't believe, like, looking at my bump, I know you can't really see, but I'll get it out for you anyway. He's in there and he's literally like only in there for, well, I don't even know. I don't know when my operation actually will be, but I know that I'll be in the hospital for a while, so wish me luck. If you're wondering what to do for a C-section birth plan, then I can give you a little run through of what mine is. Obviously people are going to have their own preferences, so you don't have to be writing the same thing as what I have, but somebody else as well might actually do a little bit more detail. I've just basically bullet pointed the main things that I want. Some places will actually get you to take tablets before you actually get to the hospital, so I think you'd probably take one on the night and then one when you wake up, and then when you get to the hospital you'll have another tablet as well, and these are just basically to stop you from being sick and stuff like that, and to just relax everything in your belly. The latest time that I can actually have anything to eat is midnight, which isn't too bad. I really thought it was going to be something like 12 hours before, which would be now, but thank God it's not, because I've got Lewis to go and get me my Chinese. So it'll be my last Chinese before I become a mum, so that's pretty weird. To be fair, probably the last Chinese of the year as well, because it'll all be Christmas and New Year, and we'll probably just be eating turkey for the rest of the year. Can't wait for that. Also, when I went for my pre-op, I had to go to a different hospital, unfortunately. It was not really one I wanted to go to, but I'm not really in a mood to be arguing where I go just for a pre-op. Although when I did get there, oh my God, it was so long. I've already been waiting like 3 hours in the hospital that I'm used to going to, but waiting like 3 hours, probably more. I don't even know how long we was waiting for, but we waited so long just to be seen by a midwife. We thought we was actually forgotten about, and we actually had to ask if they remembered us, which apparently they did, and you know, within 10 minutes of asking, they did actually turn up in the end. I thought at a pre-op that you'd probably be weighed and measured and whatever else, but I didn't get none of that. So I don't know if everything went okay, but basically they asked me a questionnaire which like was filled with a million questions, and one of the questions was, are you having your tubes tied? And I don't actually remember her asking me this question. It was a student midwife, and she went to go and get another midwife just to check that she'd done everything right before she sent it off or whatever on the computer. And the midwife said to me, are you having your tubes tied? I was like, no. And basically she turned around and said, oh, well, we've got you down for having your tubes tied. So yeah, that weren't really the best news. Obviously they corrected that, but that's basically one of the things I've now highlighted in my birth plan, to not tie my tubes. I can't just, it's quite worrying, because you do put your life and your baby's life in their hands, and you just kind of want everything to be perfect. It's definitely something I don't want going wrong the first time, that's for sure. So anyway, going back to my birth plan, I've got the date, which is obviously the 21st of December, and I've got the time of when I go into the hospital, which is 7:30, and then I've got the reason for why I'm having an elective C-section. So although it's not really something I wanted, it's still classed as an elective C-section. But the reason for this is because he's breech, and I didn't want to go through an ECV, didn't want to force him round, I just want him to do him. That's the reason why I'm having the C-section. The next thing I then wrote down, if I'd show you, it's not very neat, it's not the greatest in the world. I don't even know if this is any good or if it even makes any sense, but it's just got my personal information on. It's got, you know, like allergies. Obviously I haven't got none, but I've just put that anyway so they know. I've put my blood type because I am a negative blood type, which means that potentially the baby is going to be a different blood type. That means I've got to have an anti-D injection. If you're not sure what an anti-D injection is, it's basically if you've got a different blood type to your baby, it just stops my body from basically rejecting the baby. And obviously, well, I don't really want to say it, but you know what happens if it rejects it. So yeah, it's really important. Obviously I've had one, in fact I've had two already, but this is only a major thing if anything happens where I bleed or like anything was injured or there was a problem. Basically I'd have to have one of these, but even after the surgery I've still got to have my anti-D injection. Then the next thing is the birth partner's info, which is obviously Lewis. So I've put his name, I've put who he is in relation, so he's the father to be and my fiance, and then I've just put as a little note underneath that to offer him to cut the cord if he wants to. Sometimes it all sounds really exciting to be like, yeah, we're gonna cut the cord, but I think it's one of them situations where you probably have to see how you feel at the time. I don't blame him really, it's probably gonna be really weird, but at the same time it's quite cute to do. But either way, it's fine if he doesn't, that's okay. And then the last little bit on that page is the baby's info. So I know the gender, he's a male, obviously. And then his name, so because we've already got a name, I wrote that down too. Then I turn over and I'm just doing this in a little A5 notepad thing. It's nothing, I mean, look at that scribble there. It's really not neat. I've wrote this out about 3 times now, so I'm just going to leave that as it is, but it's probably the most detailed I've actually done it, and probably the most organised as well. So I've just put 2 sections on there. One's for basically during the surgery and then after the surgery, so they're just little requests. So the first one on the surgery request, which is during, I do not want general anaesthetic unless it's really necessary. Basically all of these things, unless they're really necessary, I just, you know, want them to stick to this. And then, so if you don't know about having a C-section, you'll end up having a catheter put in, which is something I am absolutely freaking out about. I just don't know why. I just don't like the sound of it, and I really hope I don't feel it. So, because usually you'll end up having something like an epidural or a spinal block. Usually a spinal block is, from what I've gathered from my information sources and everything, I've said that I'd like the catheter to be inserted after I've had the spinal block, so I don't feel it and I don't know they've done it. I'd rather not know. And then just another one after that I've put I may want my own music. I have actually made a playlist on Spotify, but I think it just depends on how I actually feel. Like if I feel like I need my music, then I'm gonna have to just say, look, I want my music, but otherwise I'm really not that bothered. I just know that if we're in there for a while, I want some kind of background noise other than them saying and doing whatever they're doing on the other side, on the dark side. Next thing I then put on the list is the fact that I'd like to have a photo taken when Harry has been put on me, skin to skin, and then after that I would like skin to skin ASAP. So hopefully that's something they can do, because obviously when you have like a natural birth, the baby's put straight onto you and it's a lot easier, whereas obviously a cesarean is the other side of the thingy. So yeah, I just want him to obviously be with me as soon as. Then, because as I mentioned earlier that the student midwife put me down for having my tubes tied, I've put on there, I do not, in capitals and highlighted, want my tubes tied. So hopefully they'll get that. And then after that, I've put on there, students may watch but must not participate, because there was a time actually I had knee surgery and the surgeon came out to me, spoke to me before he went in and done my surgery, and after he came out and said, oh, by the way, it was a student that had done it. And I was like, oh, thanks for telling me, thanks for the warning. Yeah, I mean, that's just there because if it happens and somebody's going to go in there and it's a student, fair enough, they have to learn somehow, but I don't want that happening for me personally. But I don't mind them watching, that's fine. The last thing I've put on there is that I'd like Lewis to be with me at all times. He might have to go out during the spinal block part, but if he can be with me, I would really, really love that, because that's probably another thing that I'm really freaking out about as well. And it's not really in my control or anything, but if it can be in my control to at least feel a little bit better and a little bit more at ease, then I'll probably try my best to have someone there with me. So that's that for the surgery requests anyway, as far as I can think. After the surgery, all I've written down are notes to say that I'd like to breastfeed, but I have been harvesting my colostrum now for the past few weeks. I've only been doing it once a night because it is quite sore. If you are pregnant, you'll know that your nipples are going to be sore anyway. So, but because I was getting quite a lot of leakage anyway, really early on as well in the pregnancy, I thought, well, I might as well put this to good use. So I've been doing it for the past few weeks. It started off really, really slow, like hardly anything coming out. So I didn't really bother collecting that as such. I just tried to like get it going basically, and then for the past few days now I've actually been able to sit there for half an hour and get half a mil, which I feel is a really good achievement. But I just think like I'd rather have my colostrum harvested now into a syringe, so if I was to breastfeed, he wouldn't have the milk, you know, after I've had all the anaesthetic and painkillers and whatnot. So then obviously going on from there, I have put a note that I would like to try and breastfeed as long as the anaesthetic has worn off, because I think a few midwives have even said that it does make them a bit more dopey, so I don't really want that to happen. It's not fair really, he's just been born, bless him, so he doesn't really want any anaesthetic, does he really? But anyway, all failing with the breastfeeding malarkey, because I don't know what's going to happen with that, I have prepared some ready-made bottles that you can get from Boots, which I've shown you and told you probably about 3 times already now in my other videos. And then that's pretty much it for my C-section birth wishes. I think if there was anything else on there that I could think of, then I would have put it down, but it can't be that important if I can't think of it right now. But if so, then I'll just write it down somewhere in the morning if I've thought of anything. But that's pretty much it. I've got what I feel like is the most important part. As for the rest of it, I suppose it's just gonna be whatever happens, happens. So anyway, as I was saying about the tablet situation before the start of the video, I don't actually have to have them tablets for like the night time, which would be now. and the morning before I go in. Apparently it's just that one off. It's just basically just stops you from being sick and stuff and relaxes all your stomach. And that's just given to you now when you go in on the day. So it's nice and easy, and you haven't really got to think about doing too much. At the pre-op, I was given this piece of paper, and it's got all the do's and don'ts for the elective cesarean. The first two things in bold here are the fact that you'll be given the tablet on admission. Oh my god. And then you must not eat anything from midnight of the night before your cesarean. And then it also just bullet points below to have no makeup, no nail varnish, no jewellery or body piercings. So I guess I'm gonna have to take that out, but that's so annoying because I just don't want to take it out. You can leave a wedding ring on. I've decided to leave mine at home, my engagement ring, just because my fingers have been swelling up quite a lot anyway, and yeah, I just feel like I can just leave that at home. If anything happens to it at the hospital, if I lose it or whatever, I would die. The next thing would then be to shave 3 days before your cesarean, or you leave it. If you leave it, they'll trim it anyway, so it's up to you. And then on the morning of the cesarean, you'll need to shower. Only one birth partner is allowed on the day, but then after, the visiting hours for this hospital is from 8 AM till 10 PM, which I think is really, really good. And you can have a maximum of 2 visitors, no one under the age of 16. I mean, I don't really know where the situation would lie if you've got other children. I suppose you probably have to talk to them, or maybe, I don't know, you'd probably just not be allowed to have them in. I'm sure though, if they're with an adult and obviously they're coming to see you and potentially their baby brother or sister or whoever it is, then they'd be allowed in. I don't know, it's a bit of a weird situation. It says if you'd like to breastfeed, the staff will support you. If you want to bottle feed, you'll need to bring in a starter pack of formula milk, which I have done. I've got 2 packs. Just before I left my house, because I'm at my boyfriend's house right now, I've basically left them a bag of emergency things, so when they come to visit they can just bring that up if I need it. And it's just basically got extra nappies, extra wipes, extra milk, extra clothes, like everything. So they can just bring that up if I need anything more. But if I need anything ASAP, then Lewis is always just right there to just go and get it whenever I need it, so thank God. You may not be discharged with pain relief medication. Looks like I'm going to have to stock up on paracetamol and ibuprofen. And then that's basically it, to be fair, on here. It's really not that detailed. When they told me about when I was booking the cesarean, I thought I was going to get a much better leaflet than that, but that's why you've got Google. To be fair, they do say not to Google a lot of things, but I Google everything, and it's a good job I do sometimes. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to try and video as much as I can tomorrow. If I can't video anything, I'll try and get pictures so I can at least try and tell you throughout. And then yeah, just wish me luck, because I am nervous as hell. I'm obviously really excited, but it's just a really, really scary situation. I just can't believe tomorrow I'm going to be a mum. What am I doing with my life? I don't even know. But I've got my little notes here, and I've bought a picture. This was his 4D scan. He's so cute. I can't wait to see him. Where are we going, babe?
Have her.
This is what I've got to put with for the whole day now. How great is that? I've just been scanned and baby is firmly breech. So all go ahead. Just had my tablet. Oh, I couldn't have my water up until 10 o'clock, which is in 10 minutes. So I'm gonna enjoy this. Oh god, look at my face though without any eyebrows. Can't believe Harry's gonna see me like this. Got my slippers, got our bags. We're ready to go. So, what time is it though? About 6:30 or something. It's been about 6 hours since Harry was born. I'm feeling a lot better now. I was feeling quite rough earlier. But there's my little family. It's the best feeling in the world. He's been held by everyone so far as well, so I think that's got most of the excitement out, but I'm sure when we get back home it will probably start up again, everyone wanting to hold him and that. I've just got bruises and pinches from the blood pressure thing. I've had an injection, blood tests, and this thing which is really annoying. I'm starting to actually feel my feet again, I can move them. But it's really tingly, they're just really bad pins and needles. Don't really know what else to say. Just to check it every hour now to see that everything's good. So far so good anyway with that. So we're on the right track. Just can't wait to get him home. His little fingers. Oh, he's so cute. Our little boy. Do you love him, babe?
I love him.
So I'll probably do another update later, or maybe even tomorrow now, because there's not really much to say. First, yeah, like soak it or whatever, and then wring it out a little bit maybe. So it's a day after I had the operation. He's sleeping and he actually did really well last night. Pretty much had to wake him up, he didn't really wake me up at all. So everything seems really good and hopefully I'll be able to leave soon, hopefully in the next few hours, who knows. But I've had a shower and I feel so much better already. This place is really hot. So yeah, there's not really much to update just yet. I think I'd rather just do that when I get home. Because there's a lot of people here and I just feel like I just need some rest. At the moment, pain relief feels like it's non-existent even though I've had loads. So yeah, I think I'll just do a separate video to update everything and basically just give an overview of the whole situation. I mean, so far so good. Fingers crossed to get to go soon.